Hello, this is Will the Werewolf, and I am continuing with our vampire story. I think we're on episode 6 or 7 or something now, aren't we? I think this might be the last one. It might not be the last one. I'm not too sure. It'd be easier if you went back and listened to the other episodes. I'll put them up in cards in the corner of the video and stuff. That'd be great. Oh, and if you could subscribe and like, that would be great. Comments are always brilliant, so go for it. So I'm just going to carry on. Hopefully you've listened to the other vampire stories. So I have her here and now. Yeah, I know. It's incredible to think that down in my little workspace is one of the queens of the vampire nation, and no one knows that I have her and what I'm doing with her. I'm not doing anything wrong sexy-wise, you know, that's not my idea. I don't know, she's just like a new chew toy. Do you have any idea who the crazy bitch is that is down there? Do you? Go on, make a guess. You might be right. Nah, that's not her. It's better than that. I only went and got, are you ready? Samuramat, also known as Ishtar or Inanna. Can you believe it? Can you? Oh, you've got no fucking idea who she is then. Well, these days she uses either the names Semiramis or Samuramat, as she and I are on such good terms, and I really know that it pisses off. I just nickname her Sammy. My little Sammy, said in such a patronising manner, can get her more irate than actually hurting her. Her ego is that big, honestly. There again, when you go into more detail of who she is, or let's say was, it makes sense that she has that kind of ego. Sammy, it turns out, was one of the ancient past's most foremost and infamous rulers. The historians really know very little about her. It all happened so long ago, but I've been using Malcolm, my idol-like servant, to get her story, and it's pretty interesting, to be honest. We have to keep her drugged and kept safe so she cannot put her glamour on him and ruin everything. I do not want to lose her just yet, and to be perfectly honest, losing Malcolm would be a pain in the arse. He's so useful. The long and short of it, Sammy ended up murdering her bloke, who was the king of Assyria at the time. I think that she had been in charge for a while, but she really came to her thought. She'd married the new king so that she could take over from him, or maybe run things as his wife. They had a son together. Well, that's what she told him anyways. She actually had the kid with her brother. Yeah, that would make more sense if you listen to the other episodes harping on about vampires. When the king was dead, she became regent of Assyria for 5 years. That is what the historians think. Oh no. Well, apart from the shagging her brother bit, but that had to be said. Incest seems a little extreme, but I don't judge the wants of two consenting vampires. The Greeks had found her story utterly entrancing because she had been a queen when women were not allowed to be queens or rulers. That's right, she was a woman in charge, and this flipped the Greeks out, and they kind of fetishized her to such a great degree. Even though Greece was a meritocracy, I bet there are a lot of powerful men out there who would have loved to have been bossed about by our Sammy. As far as history is concerned, what she did was actually lead the country in her son's name for 5 years. She was the power behind the potty, as it were. The Greeks changed her name to Semiramis. Now, historians think they changed her life into that of a myth. I think that she did a lot more still than the Greeks noted. I don't even think it's a myth. I think it'll be an amazing story when I get all of it. Sammy is a serious bitch and was named the Wise Queen, although if you upset her, you weren't very smart. She was the wife of a shit king called Shamsi Adad V, who ruled from 824 to 810 BCE. That's right, BCE. Her husband's reign was weak and unstable because of rebellion 2 years before becoming king. As you can guess, the queenly lady had none of that shit, so she stabilised the place in a pretty bloody and wonderful way. In 826 BCE, King Shamsi-Adda, the fifth's older brother, Ashur-danin-pal, launched a rebellion against his father. You know what it's like over a family dinner at mum and dad's. You all fall out, so you want to murder the other members of your family so you can take over their country. We've all been there. It took Shamsi 6 years to defeat the rebellion, led by his brother. When he and his brother had kind of taken it outside onto the proverbial lawn in the palace and sorted it out, he was kind of left in charge. Shamsi ascended the throne with his wife behind him, literally behind him, probably holding something very sharp. He had nothing in riches and stuff. He'd spent all his cash on Amazon buying soldiers and weapons for his war. That meant that the country was up shit creek financially, and the population were only just holding it together. They were on the edge of starvation and were ready to rise up and rebel again. You can imagine that Sammy was properly pissed off at her crap husband. I wonder if she had to put it out to him, like have sex and stuff. I bet not. It'd only been with her help that they had managed to save the country at all, so she decided to take things into her own hands. Her son was named Adedinaria, something like that. The future king Adeniarari III. I hope I'm saying it right. And she ran his motherfucking life with her advisor, who just happened to be Sammy's brother and the kid's real dad. Not much of a shock, that. The vampire twins were in control, but to be honest, I think that she was the brains and the driver behind all that went on at the time. When King Shamsi-Adda V died in 811 BCE under somewhat mysterious circumstances, I don't think that they were too mysterious. Sammy just didn't need him anymore, so I'm confident that she just did away with him. She was not impressed with him anyway, so once he'd served his purpose, it made sense to bin him. He was there one day, and then the next, he was not. And to be honest, no one in the country kind of really noticed. Samarama assumed her son's regency. The kid was King Adeniranari III, something like that, and she had to step up because he was too young to rule. Good that, huh? She could not be the queen, but she was the queen. This may be because she had considerable influence in the Assyrian court due to the fact that they lived in fear of her losing her shit at them. Thus, in a time when women did not have positions of power and a female couldn't rule, Sammy proved to be a wise, capable, bloodthirsty, and terrifying leader. Oh, and a woman. As the regent of the Assyrian Empire, she did what her husband could not do. She was able to stabilize the nation, basically killing anyone who said anything negative about her son. From Sammy's point of view, the great thing was that everyone saw the kid as the evil, blood-drinking monster. They blamed all the country's woes on him. She was only a woman. Only a woman. Samaramat's accomplishments during her regency are primarily unknown to historians because little literary material has survived. She tells us everything, though. I mean, I hope that the stories are true. What she got up to is incredible. I will be releasing her stories as books when we get around to it, and maybe some videos. The historians tell us she initiated some building projects and that Sammy was at the head of her own armies. She has not gotten into how she became a vampire with us yet, but she would only send her troops to fight at night. Yeah, at night. That might make you aware of what she was at this point. The idea in her enemy's eyes was she was a creature of the night, and it turns out she was. She succeeded in several military campaigns. She defeated the Medes, a group of ancient Iranians, and annexed their nation. A woman did that. A woman. She was leading her armies herself. She was at the head of the soldiers, the first person into the fray, dealing death left and right herself. She was famous for murdering all captured soldiers in a gruesome and horrific manner. She thought leaving any enemy alive was a mistake that would be paid for later. The manner in which she murdered the captured meant that many enemies would never actually fight her. They would just give up when she came. She also conquered the Armenians. Do you know how tough and nuts Armenians are now? They frighten me in this civilized day and age. She took over their country without much effort when they were still smashing each other up with sharp things. She was also noted as an excellent administrator. We all know that vampires are OCD and anal, so this would be a pretty obvious thing for her. Thus, Through Samaramat's abilities, her son's empire was strengthened. Her success was very apparent, even if we didn't follow the myths that are true. She was regent for 5 years, but was the power behind the throne for many more. Sammy, as a woman, had a memorial stela placed in the city of Ashur. It has been carved with the following, and remember, women got nothing back then. Stele of Samaramat, queen of Shamshi-Adad, king of the universe, king of Assyria, mother of Adad-Neriari, king of the universe, king of Assyria, daughter-in-law of Shalmaneser, king of the 4 regions of the world. That is about the best that a woman will ever get from these people. Not much equality or equanimity back in those days. Another better hid description of her on a stone in the same city tells the world that she was regent for 5 years, but the queen of eternity. Whatever that shit means. The reality was that Samaramat became a larger-than-life figure something during her reign, becoming idolised and worshipped as a goddess. Her legend has been mythologized, so it's hard for historians to know her actual story. Having spoken to her, though, we've found out a lot of the mythological story has some basis in truth. She makes it much more romantic than her actual history. She is worshipped as a deity whom some historians believe to be Ishtar. This puts her another 3,500 years in the past as Inanna in Sumeria. That means she'd been around for 3,000 years before this. That's fucking crazy. Inanna is the precursor goddess to Ishtar, who was worshipped in Assyria. These goddesses were associated with love, beauty, sex, war, justice, and political power. Sammy, apparently, was the daughter of a Syrian goddess and a young Assyrian man in her mythological story, and it seems it was true. When she was exposed by birth, the doves fed and took care of her until some shepherds found her. All a bit nice for a bloodthirsty thing, but baddies often, weirdly want a nice backstory. She then married King Ninus. Who's that? That's the fucking alleged builder of Babylon, of all places. This again throws her out of a timeline for a normal human. If everything that happened to her happened, it must have occurred over many lifetimes. When King Ninus died, she became the sole ruler of the Assyrian Empire. So she has been behind the scenes for years, seemingly controlling shit. She only really became apparent when threatened with the shit ruler King Shamshi-Adad. All up to that point, she was behind the scenes controlling things. According to the myths, which I assume is the truth, she irrigated Babylon, expanded her territories, and led campaigns as far as India. I believe that she did a lot of the irrigating in blood myself. She is an evil bitch. She ruled for 42 years in Assyria until her son overthrew her. When she died, she transformed into the shape of a dove, or it could be bat, depending on how you translate it, and became a goddess. We have not got to the story of the overthrow yet. Diodorus of Sicily calls Semiramis the most renowned woman of whom we have any record. That's Greek, that. He means it. Samaramat was a queen who had become a popular icon for millennia. She's been mentioned in the Bible, worshipped as a goddess, and was the basis of an opera. I don't know why that's relevant. The most surprising aspect of her story is that she achieved a position of power and authority which was unthinkable for a woman of her time. So, that is who I have in the basement. I have the goddess of Sumeria in the fucking cellar. How amazing is that? Let us take this further now. I have captured a vampire that is in the basement of my home that I can now play with, and she's thousands of years old. It turns out that vampires are really significantly affected by holy things. That to me is proper weird, because I kind of assumed there was no god or gods. Maybe the fact that she's a goddess is why she's affected by holy shit. Have modern religions got much more power? Maybe they have. I believe that Terry Pratchett knew a lot more shit than he let on in his comedic writing. He had a comedic idea that the faith of its followers only powers religions. The more faithful followers you have, the more power you have as a god. It's probably like football teams though, isn't it? You know, as one gets better, then they get more followers. I wonder if that is like the Christian religion. They started in the Sunday pub leagues of the world. Now they are in the world leagues of football thingy. I know there is one of those things, but I don't really follow football. It's not my thing. So maybe she's back in the Sunday leagues again. That means that the iconography of the big teams does them some kind of damage. Who knows? Currently, she's held prisoner by some Christian holy shit that I sourced partially through eBay. eBay's amazing. There is holy water, rosary beads, crucifixes, and other stuff. Also, I've been buying things from other religions to see how they affect her. They do kind of affect her, but not as much as the Christian stuff. On top of all this, I've discovered that the amount of suffering a vampire can suffer is shitloads more than a human can. Honestly, it is incredible. These things can deal with injuries and pain like nothing else. The great thing is that they also regrow things back. They can lose a leg or an arm, and if you leave them alone for long enough, they grow them back. They're not like me in that sense, but, you know, they take an awful lot longer to do so, and it hurts them as it regrows, which is hilarious. So, come downstairs with me now, and let me show you to her. I have dressed her nicely for you. I got her Mother Teresa's habit from when she died. It's a bad habit. This is going to be fun to see how she reacts. Malcolm's 100% sure that she will not set on fire, but I'm not sure that she won't. Shall we go and see? So that's the end of the episode. Please like, please subscribe, please share. If you have friends, which must be nice, spread it around your friends and stuff. Not it, the video. That'd be great. Love you. Bye.